Well, this is something that I've just been recently talking about, even though I've been thinking about it for a long time. And because, logically, if you have the same process of black holes happening in thunderstorms, obviously we know that thunderstorms create water somehow. And so, back when I was originally thinking about this, I thought, well, logically that means that black holes must create water. And I realized that water must be a special substance that, and we know this from, Gerald Pollack's work, for example, tells us just how amazingly unusual the substance of water is. So I was thinking, could it possibly be that water is a very, very amazing substance that doesn't just exist in our dimension, somehow is an interdimensional sort of process that links all of the dimensions together? And its physical expression is H2O, but there may be something deeper going on. And so I was mulling all this over, and then in 2011, NASA discovered that water is spewing out of black holes.
Hmm.
And so that was something that was, and nobody really has any explanation. But you know how we were used to be told that wherever we'd found water, we'd find life,
Hmm.
and people were always looking for water. Well, it turns out the water is everywhere. There's water coming out of comets in jets. There's water on the surface of Saturn's moons. There's water on the moon, our moon as well. It's not actually that uncommon. And so, what I said on record last summer, I spoke at the Institute of Noetic Sciences and also at the Glastonbury Symposium. I said very clearly that the source of the water on this planet Earth, which is a mystery to science, is going to be the center of the planet itself. That's where the oceans are coming from. It's being produced by the central black hole of the Earth. And so there's, it's part of the black hole dynamo process. So the same process that's happening in outer space, it's producing the water jets from black holes in outer space that we've now found, is happening in our thunderstorms, is happening in the center of the Earth, producing the oceans of the Earth. Do you know something? There's even been water jets found in sunspots.
Hmm.
This is the same process going. This is one of the most powerful predictions that I have made. And so earlier this year, just a few months ago, I think it was just last month, new scientists announced that they finally found the source of the oceans on the planet. It's the center of the Earth. So just as I had said that the oceans were not seeded by an asteroid, they are coming, and they're actually being continuously created, by the center of the planet, by the black hole dynamo process that's happening in the center of the planet. That's also producing the earthquakes, the volcanoes, the water geysers that we see, and it's also producing the oceans of the earth. We've got to and the to the certain degree the weather patterns, and you'll understand this that because the reason why I'm saying a certain degree is because everything is connected.
Hmm.
And every single breath of a black hole connects with every other breath, and everything's in this interconnected breathing pattern, and it all affects one another. So, although our weather systems are influenced by us, yes, but they're also influenced by a star billions of light years away. And so everything breathes together. So they're influenced by the star in physical proximity, our sun, but it's also our weather systems are also produced by the earth as well. So we're in this beautiful kind of it's a totally new understanding. And the fact that all of these predictions that are made in the theory have come true, it really sort of warrants further study really from mainstream, perhaps. If you just look at what I've said, I mean, you might not agree with me, you might not, take it seriously or whatever. But what I've just said is that I might be the only person on the planet to have predicted that water came out of black holes.
Mm-hmm.
And anyone who goes into science, anyone goes into it because they are wondering at the universe. And they are a person who loves discovery, and at some point, every scientist has got that at their core. If it's covered up by the fact that they're going to make their funding quota for this year, so be it. But I mean, as a child, they went into it and got interested in it because of a sense of wonder. So there's somebody who's saying, look, predicted, and I predicted on in print, and it's been recorded that it said that black holes would produce water, and then it was discovered. I predicted that antimatter would be discovered in thunderstorms, and it's been discovered. I predicted that antimatter would be discovered from the center of the earth, and it's been discovered. For anyone with a sense of wonder, and for any scientist who's gone into that as a job, if they're truly connected still to that space, they should be sitting up and going, oh my goodness, what is this? This is interesting. I think I'll investigate. They may prove me wrong. They may,
Mm-hmm.
end up, and that's fair enough. But it's to ignite that sense of wonder again, going, what if this is the next level of discovery? What if this is the next paradigm? That's exciting. And so this is really the frontier, and people who are have been working in this sort of connection between, because what we're really talking about in my theory and the theories that are coming out, as well as the connection between what you might call physical and consciousness,
Mm-hmm.
and that consciousness is fundamental to reality, and that first of all that consciousness has got a part to play. So, once you start to make that leap, a lot of people, a lot of the scientists in the mainstream just leave it behind, going, oh, there's nothing to do with consciousness, it's quantum physics, da da da. There are some people in the mainstream who are very shut up and calculate. But just recently, Max Tegmark started to say, and he's a mainstream physicist, started to say, he's published a new book, and he says, what if consciousness, we can see it as a full state of as another state of matter?
Mm-hmm.
So it's another state. And so, someone as prominent as he is opening up the dialogue to start to make these connections, to start to move towards unity. So it's not so far out anymore. So what you're really seeing at the rebels, the punk scientists like me,
Mm-hmm.
is that we're including consciousness, and we're placing that at the heart of the universe. But what we're seeing now from, from this announcement with Max Tegmark and anyone that, is that they're not so far behind anymore. There is a real coming together even in the mainstream,
Mm-hmm.
which is really, really quite interesting. And what the younger generation of scientists will do, I don't know either. But, for anyone who is truly still connected to that curiosity that got them into science in the first place, would be curious by what I've got to say. People who are, just into dogma and not connected to that curiosity anymore, never mind. They're missing out on the fun.
The black holes
So,
are shut.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think that's part of our, emotionally as human beings, we so want everything to be wrapped up and to know, but we have to. live with uncertainty and go and sort of be able to there was actually a BBC program, just to stick with the science aspect of what you're saying, that
Mm-hmm.
was called something like a science program called what if everything we knew about thought we knew about the universe was wrong. And
Mm-hmm.
that actually came out on the BBC. And so to really, I mean, they don't often say things like that in the mainstream, because they do make out everything is wrapped up. And even though privately these amazing anomalies that don't fit their theories, I just they're privately worrying about it, but to the public they'll make out it's everything wrapped up. Yes, we expected that strange phenomena, and so I mean, just one of the things that has come out is the gamma ray bubbles that are either side of the Milky Way, which of course fit beautifully with the theory that I'm putting forward. There was a story I saw recently. 3 years later, they still can't figure out what is causing that. What I'm saying is it's the black holes themselves, and this is the process. And they haven't read my book, obviously, but it's just an example of being in this uncertainty right now. Even though they're not telling the public that necessarily, but yeah, we have to embrace that uncertainty and knowing, and that's not comfortable for us. So that takes a bit of emotional work sometimes to sit with ourselves when within uncertainty. And sometimes when it depending on people's emotional development, if you're still recovering from something that happened when you're 5, sometimes you're not able to be comfortable with that. So if your personal development allows you to be there and in the moment, in the unknowing, then that's the way to move forward, and that's when the biggest revelations are going to come forward. I mean, when I actually got the theory through, I was actually at a point with which I describe in the second book, of everything was actually taken away from my life. That I had all my reference points taken away. And so that's when the biggest light could come through, really. So, like you say, in the dark isn't necessarily in the dark as sometimes the greatest revelations.